to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
The blackest dies.
Kill his God.
Come on!
Make this pencil.
You're terminated, fucker.
Live or die, man.
Roads? Well, we're going, we don't need roads.
There can be only one.
Kill you all.
Goonies never say die.
We don't need each other. As you can see, I'm not happy.
Are you not entertained?
This is friend.
Happy trails, Hans.
Welcome back to the Skewered Universe Podcast. My name is Jeff. Wait a minute. There's no Leanne here. That's because I've got a friend who came on this week. You know him. You love him. You have to love him because that is how it goes. We're talking about something special this week, so I had to bring him in. You know him as the host of ScreamQueenz, the podcast where horror gets gay. His name is Patrick Walsh. Patrick, welcome back to the Skewered Universe.
Jeff Baldry, as I live and breathe, how are you?
You know, I can't complain. I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm fine until I just realized, okay, let me get this straight. Leanne's not here, so I get to fill in. I'm your substitute wife for the episode. Is that what's happening? Because that was not in my contract.
Yeah. You didn't get the revised version I sent over?
Oh, clearly not.
You know, that AOL doesn't seem to be delivering email as well these days.
I'll have to ask James about it.
Use your Netscape navigator.
Anyway, hi, Jeff. It's wonderful to be here in whatever capacity. You know, had I known, I would not have worn this white. I would have worn a white dress or something. Had I known it was a bridal party. Oh my God, is this our wedding night again? What's happened? Never mind. We're not going down this road. No, never mind. Jeff and I have a long, complicated sexual history. Just never mind.
It's complicated. We won't get into that. I'm sure we've covered it before. So just go back and listen. I'm sure we've talked about it elsewhere.
It's complicated and imaginary, which is even better.
So Patrick, I'm so glad you came back to do this because we're doing a movie that you have talked about. You have talked about this on your show, but I wanted to do it over here just because I had heard your recommendations and I thought, you know what? I really need to check this out.
Well, the thing is, Jeff, you would put out that list of movies that you want guests to come on and talk about over the summer. And of course, I see it's on there and I'm very proud of you. I'm like, oh, good for you, Jeff. You're going to cover this movie that's out of your wheelhouse. And then time goes on and nobody else was stepping up to the plate. I'm like, oh, come on. I can't just let this go by.
I was waiting for somebody. That's why I kept like pushing that list. I'm like, somebody needs to take this. I don't necessarily need Patrick to take it. I mean, I was always thinking like, if he wants to, he's always more than welcome. But if somebody else steps up
I had to, because everyone else is too chicken to talk about this movie. I get it. It's not for them.
Fucking cowards.
It's not for everybody.
Excuse my language, but I tend to throw around the language over here somewhat. So
I hope you're not apologizing to me. Please, I'm the queen of the potty mouth.
That is true. It's why I fell in love with you. Sorry for my grunt there, my wheeze. So I guess I should let everyone know exactly what movie we are talking about. It is Death Drop Gorgeous.
You're gonna be working at the same bar as Janet.
Who are you?
And she's performing tonight.
Because if you're gonna have two faces, at least make one of them pretty.
This is much more savage.
Getting rid of a body just ain't like it used to be, you know?
Oh my God! I'm calling Tony!
Take
Take your pity and shove it up your
Bitter old queen. I'm no Dr. O'Hara, but I think somebody drained this kid's blood.
Damn it.
Wait, she's dead?
Oh, she's not really dead. She's dead to me.
What did the body look like?
Lost. What could one person be doing with all this blood?
The body count of gay men continues to rise in Providence.
4 dead bodies?
Take your gun off safety.
Looks like Tony added a comedy act to my chef.
Yeah, well, he thought it was time we gave the people something of substance.
Whether you like it or not, it looks like we got a serial killer on our hands. What's that thing on your face?
What the? People at your bar are dead, and that could have been me.
Any more questions, Detective?
This, oh my God.
First of all, I just want everybody to just take a step back. He did not say Drop Dead Gorgeous. That's a completely different movie. Not the one with, what's her name? Kristen, what's her name?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I know it because
Interview with the
somebody
Vampire.
confused
Dunst,
it.
Kristen Dunst,
Yeah.
not the Kristen Dunst opus. No. This is an independent queer drag slasher. They came out in 2020.
And it is, not to let the cat out of the bag early here, but it is fantastic.
It's a wild ride. It's a wild ride.
I found myself laughing out loud at so many parts that I found hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so
it's wickedly funny. It's not just going for drag horror movie. It's also a wonderful satire of the queer community. And okay, so my straight listeners out there, this is something you need to know about this movie. I talk about horror movies on my show, and I try to find gay influences in them, or the gay themes in them, whether they're supposed to be there or not. Sometimes I'll read them into, sometimes they're supposed to be there.
Right.
But I've been doing the show for 13 years. When I started, I really had to dig for them. But now queer horror has become much more of a commodity. People are being much more upfront about it and making it part of the plots. And what I found with a lot of these more modern queer horror movies is they feel the need to take straight people by the hand and walk you through our culture and explain everything to you. This is how this goes, and this is how this things, or soften things down, or like give you somebody to latch onto. Like, here's a straight person for you to attach to. This movie's like, no. This is who we are. Catch up. We're not explaining shit. We're not apologizing for anything. This is us, warts and all. Let's go. And that could be a turnoff for people.
I actually really like that, because it was like, you know what? I'm just being thrown into this as a straight man, and it's just like, look, you're either on board or turn it off and go watch something else.
Yeah. If I want to make a parallel to what I'm saying, there was that movie that Kevin Bacon did that got a lot of press, They/Them.
Right. I still haven't seen that one yet.
It doesn't work. Like it's like there's no horror to like the last 20 minutes. Okay. And it's just this wallowing in the misery of what it's like to be queer. And all the kids at the camp, they're not characters, they're just embodiments of sadness. Oh. Like, we're just sad and we're gay. This is how it is to be queer. Like, we're gay and we're repressed, or we're trans and we're repressed, and we never have any joy ever. And it's just like, what is this? What is this? They're not people. They're archetypes, and not even archetypes. They're just weird moods. And you get that a lot in these modern things. Like, either that or the queer characters have to be paradigms of virtue, and they are not in this movie. Everybody's a monster in this movie, which I think is great. Unapologetically a monster, warts and all.
Oh, so many. There are so many times I was just like, oh, okay. Like, the bitchiness amongst all of the drag performers to each, I was like, this is so much fun. I was like, I don't know if this is actually how it is, but my God, the fact they're tearing each other down and doing it with a smile on their face and these tones, I was like, this is fantastic.
Well, here's the thing about the filmmakers, the people behind Monster Makeup LLC. They're just a bunch of friends from Providence, Rhode Island, who just were like, hey, we all have kind of film backgrounds and we all love horror. Let's make a movie. And this is as grassroots as it gets. They somehow managed to scrape up all the movie, and they scrape up all the money to make a movie. They made the movie, and it actually turned out to be damn good, which is shocking.
Yeah, because
To hit
there's
something this hard out of the park on your first try at bat is astounding.
I've seen other independent films that kind of look the same way this film does, like the way it's shot, but it just doesn't have the same thing this movie had.
They also did the smart thing and they wrote what they knew. They know the Providence bar culture. And all of these people are like, they're saluting actual people in the Providence bar culture. Some of the characters are in the movie. Some of them are based on actual. If they're not in the movie, they're based on somebody. So there's a realness to everything, even though they're all parodies. It's very grounded. And I like to say this movie is not for everybody too, because it's rough around the edges and there's a sloppiness to it that's part of its charm. It's like John Waters made a slasher movie. If you don't like John Waters movies, you probably won't like this.
That's very true. That's a good way to put it. I appreciated all the roughness because I was like, you know what? They knew what they were working with. They knew what they were trying to do. They didn't try to push the envelope too far with trying to do things that maybe would be constrained by the budget. They worked within that.
Yeah.
So if some things didn't quite look great, it's like, hey, you know what? We're doing what we can. And I applaud that.
Yes.
It kind of reminded me of, and you'll know this, the first Scotchworthy movie, It's My Party and I'll Die If I Want to.
100%. Yes.
God,
yes.
Thank you. I was like, I'm going to say this, and I'm wondering if he's going to agree. But it's
the
same kind of thing.
I saw that was the first movie I saw at my very first Horror Hound weekend.
Nice.
She had a great line about something with the chainsaw, and I forget what it was.
I'll fuck start your face. Fuck start your face.
That's That's right.
And I think, wasn't it, I believe Amy from NLTLP had a t-shirt that had that on it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, we're going way back, people. This is old.
I was there when she bought it. She bought it at the same time as she bought the t-shirt that said, I will shit in your mouth.
Yes, I forgot about that. Oh, my God.
Because and that's where Flem the gargoyle got the idea from Amy's t-shirt.
And now we know why Flem is the way he is. Okay, we're
going deep cuts now. Flem hasn't been around in a while.
This is how long I've been listening to podcasts as well as you. We've established who we listen to early on, which is, but yeah, it's just, this movie is, that's what it reminded me of, was It's My Party, because it's a little rough around the edges, but in no way did they think they were making something that was going to be this, I'm not saying this as an insult, this magnum opus of indie filmmaking. They were like, look, we're having fun. We're making, so we know exactly what kind of movie we're making. This is it. You're either on board or you're not. And if you're on board, thanks for coming on the ride.
Yes. And what I think was also fascinating about what happened with this movie is that as they were making it, other like queer artists and queer filmmakers and people, not so much in the directing part, but other parts of the production process were like, hey, do you guys need help? We'll help you with your sound. Hey, do you guys need a song? We'll write you a song. So it's got this community feel to it as well. Like a whole bunch of people got together, like the people who, hey, do you need help with your special effects? All the people from Dragula came over and helped them with their gore effects.
See, that is amazing. That is amazing, because I have not seen any of the Dragula stuff, but I have heard about it. I saw when the Boulay brothers were on Joe Bob on the last drive-in.
Sure.
And I listened to them talk, and I was just like, I have a profound respect for you two. I haven't seen what you've done, but I just respect everything you're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
And the makers of this movie, Death Drop Gorgeous, I have a profound respect for all of them for doing this, because they pulled off something that is just so much fun.
And on top of being fun, it's not like anything else out there. When it's all when you're at the end, you find out, well, it's all about, you said, well, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
We have a brand new monster in this movie, and I think that's great.
It went somewhere I wasn't expecting. It was real quick here. I just want to give, so if anybody's wondering what the storyline is for this, the basic synopsis I have here is: a dejected bartender and an aging drag queen try to survive the eccentric and hostile nightlife of a corrupt city as a masked maniac slaughters young gay men and drains them of blood.
Sure.
I mean, that's
what it said on Hulu, and I said that's a really weird description. I'm not on Hulu, but on Tubi. I read that. I'm like, that's really not what happens, but okay.
Yeah. The one thing I did like is immediately when bodies start turning up that are drained of blood, everyone's like, this is some kind of vampire. Yeah, it's some kind of vampire. Okay, we know horror movies. This has got to be some kind of vampire.
One of my favorite lines of the movie, and I love that like the Michael Ahern, one of the screenwriters, is particularly witty, and he's one of the cops. He's Lieutenant O'Hara in the movie, and he's got that line when they find the body by the river. He's like, "Looks like we got some kind of hold on. Looks like we got some kind of fag killing vampire with a taste for blood." That's redundant and that's funny.
I heard that. That was when I heard him use that F word. I will not use it. I don't like that word, but I was like, I'm like, that's your word, so you can throw it around as you see fit.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that is okay to say.
I give you dispensation for the day because it's necessary for the talk about the movie, and nothing in the movie is using it in a harmful way.
No, he's just like, okay, this is what we got. But when he dropped
he's a corrupt cop. That's exactly what a corrupt cop would say. And plus, you can go get a free app and pop a Fagatoni's on the hill afterwards.
That was when he said that, Papa Fagatoni's. I was like, oh, okay. I was rolling at that name. I'm like, these names are brilliant.
Mm-hmm. I could totally see a restaurant call that 100%.
I couldn't. Nobody would bat an eye at it.
The thing, okay, so Jeff's right. So basically, there's a killer that's preying on the patrons and drag queens of this one particular bar in Providence, Rhode Island. So we meet a lot of the drag queens and a guy who's come back to town, our final girl, if you will, who's come back to town after a big breakup, and now he's working at the bar, and a couple of his friends, a couple of random people around town that we're following, and the corrupt cops and the corrupt management. But somebody's picking them off one by one and draining them of blood. And the movie didn't really take off for me until we meet Gloria Hole.
Right.
Who's Gloria Hole, Jeff?
Gloria Hole is the aging drag queen that we meet, who has been taken from her lead role at the Outhouse nightclub for one Janet Fitness. You can tell she is bitter, dejected, angry, fed up.
Yes, and rightly so. I mean, this was when the movie rang for me. First of all, this performer whose name I don't have in front of me is glorious. Whenever he's on stage, on camera, I'm like, I can't take my eyes off you. You're fascinating. Like every line drips with venom. Every facial expression is just on point. But this is 100% accurate. 100% accurate. Like, in the drag community, like, you will be a superstar one day, and then you get to be 60. And back in my day, like, I'm an old queen, you know, when I was out in the 80s and early 90s, the drag queens would get old, and they would still get respect when they came to the stage. The older ones, you still like listen to them, and yeah, because you're still here. We were fighting a plague at the time. If you're 70 and you're on that stage and you want to perform, we're going to support you. But now it's not like that. The older drag queens have become very, very much disposable.
Jeez.
And everybody wants something new. And it's particularly looking at Gloria. She's like, I built this fucking community. I am the first lady of Providence. This town would be nothing without me. And now you're treating me like this.
Yeah. And go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, like, and the older performers like tend to be more intricate. They're more involved. They're more, there's characters. They make their own costumes, and there's artistry to what they do. Whereas with a lot of the new ones, they come out and jump around and lip sync, and they're getting all the press. And she's so fucking bitter. And the one thing I just loved was that they got 100% right. It's bingo night is where drag queens go to die. That is 100% accurate.
I was going to ask you about that, because I was like, is this just something they threw in for something to be like, oh, this is kind of sad, but knowing that that's an actual thing, I'm like, oh.
If they've got you on bingo brunch, you are on your last legs as a performer.
And you could just see in that performance, and that's from Michael McAdam, who was playing the older Gloria Hole. You could just tell in her face, just her action. She's just like, I'm over this bullshit. I'm stuck at bingo. What the fuck? Like, I was the star. I was the one who created this. I was the pillar. I'm the foundation for all of this. And all of you were just telling me to fuck off, basically.
And for these twats who just come on and slap on some rouge and bang, I'm a drag queen. No, that's not how it goes.
No, and speaking of that,
I paid my dues. Yeah. Anyway,
I was laughing at how horrible the Janet Fitness performances were. Because it's like 80s aerobics, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
see, this is I've covered this on what I start. Let me take it again. Janet is a monster. I love Janet. But when we see her perform her act early in the movie, and very early in the movie, and I said, oh, is it going to be like this? Because the filming isn't good, and it makes the act look bad. And it makes her look bad. I'm like, oh, is this going to be like really shitty small town drag for 2 hours? I'm not going to lie. This is why when Gloria Hole came on, I woke up. But no. But because once we get past that number, like every word out of Janet's mouth, venom and hubris.
It's just like, you are terrible. She just scathing remarks to everybody. Just when she walked out on stage towards the end of the movie, she's just like, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat to everyone in the audience. She's like,
well, she's Janet Fitness. That's her job. Her job to tell everyone she's fat. That's what the fitness industry does.
And I was like, you are nailing this. And those people were just eating it up. They're like, oh my God, I am. It's Janet. I'm like,
but you listened to my show. You've heard me complain about this. You've heard me complain that the younger generation does not have the respect for their history or their elders. And that these kids who've grown up on, listen to me, I sound too old, but some younger queens who have grown up on RuPaul's Drag Race don't understand that throwing shade is an art. It's to be used sparingly and with laser-like precision. If everything out of your mouth is an insult or a put down, you're not throwing shade, you're being a cunt. And that's Janet.
Yeah.
She feels the need to put everybody down with everything out of her mouth because that's what drag queens are supposed to do, because I saw it on TV. No, honey. No.
Just every time her and Audrey Hartburn were together.
If you're going to have two faces, try to make one of them pretty.
Oh my God. I was just like, I was slack John watching this because I was just like, oh my God, they're just trading barbs. I'm like, this is like, but I was like, Janet is so bitchy.
Yeah.
It was,
and those scenes in particular are kind of how shade is supposed to be done. Like this, they're done with a smile and maybe a little bit of a compliment, and like you know, you hit your big mark and then you leave.
Which I know that from listening to you. I do not. I don't know how to do that. I am not good at throwing shade. I'll just I'll argue with you, but I can't throw shade. It's not my thing. But I know that it has to be, like you said, laser precision, focus, not just thrown around to everyone. It's like you make your point and you gracefully exit.
And
stage.
also, like for true shade, even they do this in RuPaul, like when they have the throwing shade competitions, like you don't go for the jugular, you don't go for personal things that are going to hurt. You maybe go, oh, you kind of hold up that mirror and go, look at yourself, or bet something silly, like the thing that Janet said. It's like if you're gonna have two faces, make at least one of them pretty. The insult wasn't really that she's ugly, because they're going to say that every time out of their mouth. Instead, you're a two-faced bitch.
Yeah.
That's the important part. But anyway, nobody cares.
That was the way I took it. I was like, oh, she just called you a two-faced bitch, but in a way that wasn't just saying you're a two-faced bitch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You had to stop and think about that. Oh, hey, that's good shade. They've left the room by the time you figure out you've been insulted.
I'd say one of the funniest moments I saw with Gloria Hole, when she was sitting in the park smoking a cigarette, kind of reflecting on everything. And here comes the woman jogging with her baby.
Baby side-eyed.
And she just leans over and flicks her cigarette right into the stroller at the baby. I laughed so loud at that.
I was already laughing at that because I told the people that made the movie, I'm like, that is my favorite character in the movie, is Baby Side-Eye. It's in one shot of the movie, and it's looking at Gloria with all the judgment in the world. I'm like, ooh.
Like, what is he?
Your makeup is terrible. But
just
that's one of my favorite.
The entire scene was great, but I chortled out loud as soon as she flicked that cigarette in at the baby. I was like, oh. All right.
But again, that's another scene that's like underlining something that's very, very real in the gay community, is that watching, okay, what tends to happen in the cycle of real estate is that you'll have a low-income neighborhood like a black ghetto or a Latino ghetto. The rents will get raised because the gays have moved in. They make everything classy, and then we make everything really cool and popular, and then the straights come in, and then we have to move out because we can't afford it anymore. It's a cycle of real estate. That's how it always goes. So she's sitting there looking out over her town, and like this straight woman with a baby just comes up right in front of her, blocks her view. There's gentrification happening right now. It's not my town anymore. It's Jogger Mom's town. I'm losing my stage. I'm losing my town. I built all this, and it's all going away.
And see, it's things like that I didn't quite pick up on because I'm not a part of that community.
You don't speak the language. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So seeing that, I took it as, okay, she's looking there. She's looking very much like what happened to my life. I was once on top. I didn't get the gentrification part.
Well,
seeing it now, I'm like, oh, that is right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I have you here to explain that to me, so now I can learn what these little things are.
Well, the movie, one of the things I like about the movie, one of the things that makes the movie stand out, and because even though it's this little low budget movie that almost nobody saw because it was due to release in the midst of the pandemic, and all of a sudden nobody would touch it because there was nowhere to show it. So the fact that anybody knows about it at all is amazing. But the New York Times got a hold of it, and it made the list of their top 10 LGBT films of 2020, which is amazing. Like, it's a big budget, huge cast things. And this little movie was on there. And one of the reasons it was on there is that it addresses all these things that are taboo. I mean, not taboo. All these things that are distinct problems within the queer community that we don't talk about. There's really ugly side to the rainbow that nobody talks about. Like there's a built-in racism, the ageism that we've talked about, this gentrification thing. A whole bunch of other things get brought up in the movie and addressed, but nobody talks about it. They just happen. Like, they're just built into the story, so you either catch it or you don't. That's a commentary on all these things that are wrong with us. And it doesn't say how we're going to solve it, but it's like just going to say, it's holding up that mirror like the shade. Look at us. Look at you. You do this, right? One of you does this. One of you out there does this. I know you do. But one of the things I love about the movie, too, is that everybody's a monster. Even our heroes are monsters. Even the likable characters have monstrous aspects to it. Nobody gets away clean in this movie.
Not at all.
You're probably wondering, where's the horror part, Jeff?
Oh, the horror part is there. I mean, and it starts right away when you think about it. So our first kill is a guy who was trying to hook up with the friend of the bartender. What's his name? Brian, I believe.
Oh, no. That's even way before that. We get the little drug pusher.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God. That's the opening of the movie. The drug pusher. Yes. Getting some drugs and
yeah.
How
He's
can I
hooking up.
forget that?
He's hooking up. He's not there for the sex. He's for the drugs. Also very common. Yeah, the drug use, rampant sex. Yeah. By the way, gay people have sex. So if you have a problem with that, you might be uncomfortable in this movie. But
if that's a problem for you, well, 1, grow the fuck up. 2, this movie's probably not for you. And 3, just turn this off. We don't need you.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm just, if at this point in 2023 you're that offended by it, take a look at yourself.
Hold up that mirror. Look at you. This is you right here. Anyway.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, not with the way we did it was, but that's at the point right now. We're not going back there. Please stop bringing it up. I can't talk about it anymore.
And that drug pusher scene in the opening, that was okay. But I'm like, why is there a bucket? And then it dawned on me what was happening. I'm like, oh.
See, I forget about the bucket in the first scene, but it all gets wrapped. There are no loose ends by the end of the movie.
No, it all gets wrapped up. You know exactly why all of this was happening.
Yeah, because the first few victims you just see get slashed, and then you don't realize till much like halfway through the movie that the bodies are showing up with no blood at all. So that's what the bucket's for.
Yeah. That was pretty visceral, the screwdriver stabbing, and then you're getting the bits of viscera.
Yes, that's one of those things that I could tell somebody stepped in, like one of those. I don't know this for certain, but it looked like somebody came in and said, "This kill's kind of basic. You're stabbing somebody with a screwdriver through a sweater, and it's just a close with a sweater." And somebody came in, like one of the special effects people, we're gonna have to amp this up a little bit.
Yeah, because the first few stabs, I'm like, okay, that's pretty gnarly. You're stabbing someone like in the back with a screwdriver. That's rough. And then I started seeing a little bit more and a little bit more of this viscera and bits sticking on. I'm like,
And then we're getting some twisting action in and some like spinning, like mixing action with the screwdriver. It gets really grisly.
It's like, oh, like just twist it, spin it, work it around. Like it's an old arcade machine in the 80s. Just
yes,
move it around like a joystick.
100%. 100%.
I was just like, okay, you got me with this one. Because at first, a few stabs, I'm like, okay. And then I was like, oh, there are bits. And then just like if somebody was playing, Space Invaders or something and just trying to get the high score.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Space Invaders was buttons, Jeff. Come on now. What kind of 80s boy are you?
Anyway. Right, that's right. See, I played the home version on Atari.
Meow. But this is what I found this is a pattern for all the kill scenes in general. They all go on too long in the right way.
Yes.
Like you go, oh, okay. Oh, gross. Oh, it's still going. Oh, please. Oh, no, there's more. No. Okay.
It's that thing where it's like, okay, you're like, this is good. Wait, why is it still going on? And then you're like, oh, I'm glad this continued because I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
It's like the joke that it's funny and then it starts to get not funny and then it's funny again.
Yes. Well, what I like about these, they're like, wow, that's great. Oh, that was funny. Or like, oh, that was you have the ew, and then you kind of laugh, but then it keeps going, and you're like, oh, okay, this isn't fun anymore. Okay, stop. Oh no. Oh no, snapping nerves from across the room. No.
That's how I felt. I felt more that way about the next kill that we see.
That's exactly what I was referring to, because I figured that would bring you back, because as soon as I said snapping nerve across the room, that you would know exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah. That.
Well, this is the signature kill of the movie. This is the most famous scene from the movie. It's in the trailer, so we're not spoiling anything.
I was not expecting it because I went in without watching a trailer. I didn't want to see anything of this, just what I had heard you talk about. So I was like, I'm not watching a trailer. I want to go in 100% blind to this and really just take all of this movie in without knowing more than what I knew from what you had talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
So to see this scene of this guy who was wanting to hook up, but not really wanting to hook up with the people at the bar.
Well, this is another one of those issues that come up, is that, the anti, like I said, racism, but also the anti-femme. But this guy, he's supposed to meet one of our heroes, Brian, who's wonderfully awful. Broadway Brian. Oh my God. Wonderfully flamboyant. Chris Dalby, my favorite performance in the movie. Just so over the top.
Oh my God.
If you meet Chris Dalby, that's him. He's not acting. That's him. Exactly what you get.
I love that.
But he's supposed to be, he's like, oh, they're so excited because his friend Dwayne, our main character, has come back to town. We're going to go out in the town now that you're back, and we're going to have a great night. Oh, by the way, I'm meeting somebody I hooked up with on Powder. So Dwayne's like, great, I'm going to be the third wheel. He's like, no, everything's going to be fine. And they meet this guy, and he's this yuppie, preppy piece of crap.
Mm-hmm. Immediately, as soon as that guy showed up on screen, I was like, I don't like you.
No. Well, he went to Beige University, so you know he's going to be bad. Not brown. He's not quite Ivy League.
Nope.
But yeah, he didn't fit. He didn't fit with the whole bar. Like, as soon as you see him, like, oh no, with the blue shirt and the paint, like, you're a straight guy. Oh no. So there's something wrong with you that's not going to be good. But no, he's Brian's too femme for him, and Dwayne's too black.
Which I was like, at first I was like, okay, what did you expect when you were coming to this bar? One, to be put off by the femme aspect. And there's the black thing, and I'm like, you are a piece of shit all around.
Yeah. Well, that's like I can say that there's tons of I've seen enough profiles on enough social, hookup apps that they will say no femmes, no blacks. Mask for, I mean, they even have. What did you think the mask for mask ball is all about? Mask for mask, masculine for masculine. Although this is a masquerade ball, so it was mask for mask, but that's what they're playing on. Everybody who was on AOL in the 90s know exactly what mask for mask means. No femmes.
That was on AOL in the 90s. I didn't understand that.
You were not in the same chat rooms that I was in.
No.
Thank you very much.
No, I wasn't. I probably would have had more fun.
But yeah, so the guy, the hookup's not happening. Brian's devastated. And as the guy's leaving, he hooks up on Pounder, not Grinder, Pounder.
Can I just say, I love that the app was called Pounder.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
I was like, okay, that's funny. That's really good. That is clever. It's not just like, oh, let's just get some generic. They're like, no, let's make it Pounder.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, bravo.
And I'm sorry, like this whole hookup thing. Let's just say that I can say, I mean, everyone I've talked about the movie, every gay person I've talked about, they're like, oh yeah, I've been there. I've been on some like 3 a.m. hookup that I know I should not be going on, and like I'm getting every red flag, but I'm going anyway, which is exactly what this guy walks into. This guy walks into a trap that he everything about this is like, oh, no. Oh, just come around the back of the house. Go down to the bulkhead. The bulkhead? No. You're going into the murder basement? No. Oh, there's plastic all over everything? No, get out, girl. No.
As soon as I was like, okay, one, they're like, go into the backyard, then go through the bulkhead. I'm like, okay, right there, no. Then he goes down, the whole room's in plastic. And I said audibly out loud, I was like talking to the movie, I'm like, if you walk into a room that is covered with plastic, that's not a good sign. You turn around and leave.
But Jeffrey, here's the thing. Some people in my community will set up a glory hole as a hookup. So you might walk into a room that's all covered in plastic that's got a hole cut in it. Some people
now I understand
glory
more.
holes. I've never encountered that myself, but I've had other people encounter that. I've seen people advertise that. Like, just come over and you don't have to see me, I don't have to see you, just drop and go. And so I could say that he'd be like, okay, this might be a lot more plastic than I was anticipating, but there's the hole, there's the hand gesturing me over. I'm sorry, that shot of that gloved hand coming out of the glory hole, gesturing him over, is gorgeous.
It is so beautiful to watch. It's just like, oh, okay.
Just the way the light's reflecting off the glove, it looks like a snake. It looks like some kind of, it doesn't look human. It's wonderful though, wonderfully scary shot.
Yeah, it's
dudes being dudes. He's like, well, you know what? Any hole will do.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just here to get blown, so I'm just gonna put it in and we'll see what happens. It's like, and a part of me is like, nobody should be sticking their dick through random holes, no matter your orientation. It's not. I mean,
that is a big part of our culture. Glory holes are what we do. Okay.
I mean, our main character is Gloria Hole as well.
Exactly.
So just part of me was like, don't put it in. No, this is bad.
It's okay, Jeff. He'll never do it again. He learned his lesson. He will never do it again.
Did learn his lesson. Also, I did like the fact where he's like, hey, watch the teeth.
Yep. But did that stop it? Did he leave? Then no, he left it. He left it in there.
Left it in. What I like is that shot. Okay, so you see him insert his penis into the glory hole,
and you can all breathe easy. It's a fake penis.
You obviously you can tell that it's fake. It's not real. I mean,
I'm just putting that out there because I'm sorry. Sidebar. There's this full frontal nudity of Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, and my feed has been full of straight guys freaking out because they saw a penis in IMAX.
Which I don't understand.
Just get over it. But I'm just saying, if that's you, I don't judge you, but just know that this is not a real penis. It's a fake boner.
Right.
Which is also what Jeff said when I got pregnant, but that's okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I should have had a meat grinder.
Oh. Now, before we get to that, what I liked is just before we see what's going on the other side, you see just how vulnerable he is. He's up against the wall, his hands against the wall. It's that shot down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no getting away from this now. You are too committed, but you are so vulnerable and unable to get away right now.
You're literally anchored into this wall right now. Mm-hmm. If whoever's on the other side doesn't want you to go, you won't go.
Yeah, I love that because I'm like, you are the most vulnerable right now, and you don't even understand what's about to happen. And then we see a meat grinder taken to his unit.
I love that we hear it before we see it. Just the crank.
And then the slow reveal of it just coming across. I'm like, oh, they're building up the tab. Like, oh, the shot inside of the gear turning, that drive that's just gonna grab you. Like, oh no. And they don't shy away from showing it going in and getting mangled and coming out as filling for a meat pie.
You don't see it. You don't see it go in and getting mangled. You think you do, but you don't. But no, you just see him pulling away on the other side of the wall. And you're like, oh, it's gross. His penis came off. But then like I said, you realize not all of it comes off right away. And he goes stumbling across the room, and you realize a nerve has stretched all the way across the room, and then it snaps, and you're like, ah!
And it took him a couple of tries to get free.
Oh yeah, he has to tear himself out of there.
Because the first time you're like, you see something, you're like, wait, what? And then it's like the second couple of pulls, and you're like, oh.
It's a meat grinder, Jeffrey. It's not going to be a clean cut.
No, I understand that, but I like the fact that we're seeing what's coming out of the meat grinder as the most gross filling for Mrs. Lovett's meat pies ever.
Well, it's because you got to put it 3 times in the grinder, Jeffrey. 3 times if you want a Mrs. Lovett meat pie. Don't you try to out musical theater me. How dare you?
I just wanted to throw that one in. I don't know anything else. Come on.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know this. But that scene is one that it goes on for just too long, but it's so good.
Yeah, because it keeps getting worse. You think it's done. Oh no, it's not that. Oh, there's more. Oh god, there's more.
Whereas some mainstream movie wouldn't have shown, him putting it into the hole. They would have just shown you the grinder and then him on the other side writhing, and that's about it. Yeah. It would have been like, oh, we're not showing you anything weird. And then maybe the bloody grinder being thrown on the floor afterward. This movie was like, no, we're going to show you exactly what this guy's going to get.
This may be the only chance we're ever going to make a movie. We're going to show you everything disgusting that we can, the way we want to do it.
I was grossed out, but at the same time, I was like, this is really fun to watch. And then the nerve snapping, I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. It's like, God damn.
But even then, it's not done, because like after it snaps is when you get a huge gush of blood out of the stump. I'm like, come on, stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
That's the you think, oh, okay, it's done. And then no, if he's sitting there just looking at it, there's just a spot in the blood.
Had you fucked the femme guy, this would never have happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, you were an anti-femme and an anti-black piece of shit. So
and now you got no dick. Who's femme now? Not a joke. That was deliberate.
Yeah.
Macho man. You're dead now. Okay. There's so much to get into with this movie. I don't know where to go. I'm following your lead.
Can I say that I really enjoyed Tragedy?
Tragedy is the best character that has ever happened in any movie ever. And I'm so glad you're a straight person who appreciated Tragedy.
The fact that they cut back at one point and she's just playing the theremin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, what?
Tragedy is this drag queen who's on the sidelines most of the time. And every time she's there, she's always doing something really weird, but really interesting that nobody's paying attention to, which makes her fascinating.
The dusting of the disco ball.
Au revoir, mon ami. Dressed like a French clown. What's happening? Yeah.
I just love that for the beginning of the movie, there's Tragedy, has not said a word. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, okay, maybe she's mute. She's playing the theremin, just walks off after she's done. And then when you hear her speak, I'm like, oh.
2 people, to the whopping 2 people applauding.
Oh my God. I was like, wait, there's a theremin in this movie? Okay.
There's a theremin in this movie. It's Tuesday night theremin night with Gloria Hole. And Gloria has to follow the theremin.
Tragedy, as soon as I saw her, I was like, there's something about this character I'm immediately liking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every costume choice, brilliant.
When the cops were interrogated, they're like, so what's your name? I am Tragedy. Okay, but like your name. I am Tragedy.
Tragedy with an I. It's Tragedy with an I because she's fancy.
It's like, you just have to go with this, man. She is Tragedy. That's
She doesn't have much to say, but everything she says is gold.
Oh my God. Just so good.
Just to see where there's the 2 other older drag. Like what? My only beef with the movie is that the runtime is a little long, but I wouldn't cut anything because the thing that makes it long is all this love letter stuff to the drag scene of Providence. So it's all this stuff for the locals, and it's all featuring local drag queens and scenes to get them in the movie, and it adds so much flavor. I wouldn't cut it. I mean, it's not advancing the story, but I know why it's there, and I appreciate that. But there's a scene where there's two drag queens who are not major players just putting on their makeup and talking about the murders that are going on. And like, Tragedy, what do you think's going on? And they cut to Tragedy, and she's eating a pomegranate with a hunting knife in an immaculate white outfit. I said, that girl is supernatural. How are you not covered in stains?
Like, there's no way that would actually happen.
It is if you're Tragedy.
Tragedy is the only one who could do it.
No, Tragedy's fantastic. Oh, I know. We talk about Tony Two Fingers.
Oh my God. He's so angry. Oh my God.
One of the things I adore about this movie is that I know all these people, and I don't mean the actors in the movie, like these characters. I'm like, oh yeah, I've dealt with him. And with bars, and it's not just gay bars, but I mean, a lot of bars in general, especially in the city, especially the ones that have been around for a long time, like the ones that were around in the 60s, had mafia ties. That's how they stayed open.
Right.
Because it was when it was still illegal, the mafia kept them open. So a lot of bars have some really seedy people running them. And Tony's one of them. So this is absolutely great. It's his community, it's his hub of the community, but a real shitbag owns it.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, this is right. This is absolutely right. I love Tony. Everything's loud. Everything's angry. Everything's coarse.
Like, no matter what, it's like he could be having the best day and he's still just going to be angry. Something has pissed him off.
And he's got some zingers. He's got some zingers. Like Glorious complains to him about this whole thing. He's like, listen, I used to be the first lady of Providence. Nobody appreciates anything. What happened to glamour? What happened to talent? What happened to staging? And he goes, what happened? What, did they not like enough? What are the numbers that you pulled out of your sarcophagus, Gloria? Here, has the money. Go buy yourself a new wig. That one looks like you used it as a gum rag. He's awful. He's awful. And we never found out why he has two fingers.
No, never.
And we lost the other three. I don't think we even see them, but it doesn't matter.
We only see them. You catch glimpses, but they don't really show it completely. Like, there's a couple of shots where you can kind of see his hand. It looks like he's just folding the fingers under, which I'm certain was just so they could get a quick glimpse.
Yeah.
You don't see his hand until later when Gloria is exacting some revenge.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And
even then I wasn't paying attention because the revenge was, but I don't know what you're talking about. Spoiler.
Okay, look, we're just gonna spoil this movie because you need to see it. So if you listen this far, why haven't you gone and watched the movie and then come back?
It's a very hard movie to talk about because there's so many characters and so many layers of things going on, but they do all pay off in the end. Everything does come together, and you're like, oh, okay, everything needed to be there. There were no random parts. So that's what makes it a little difficult to talk about. So we're shying over a lot of things, or otherwise we're going to be here all day. But yeah, Tony's got some great comedy stuff. All of his stuff, the way he treats his performers is fabulous too. Completely on point. You're a performer. You're nothing. I run this place. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You're just the talent. You're replaceable, which you are, which clearly you are. Ask Gloria how replaceable she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Another drag queen's dead. The show must go on. That's showbiz.
Yeah. That's what's crazy. Is like, there's murders going on, and he's like, I need to keep this fucking club open and make some goddamn money. He tells the cops, make it disappear. Find the body in his dumpster. They find that was the drug pusher's body, I believe, in the dumpster, correct? Because that was early on.
Yeah, yeah. And they dump it. They dump it in the dumpster. They hide it in the dumpster behind Poo Poo's Chinese restaurant,
which closed down shortly after the body was discovered there.
And an Oriental rug. Because, like I said, we're dealing with. If that offended you, you're in the wrong movie. But I just anything like that that was offensive. I'm like, that's what John Waters would do. John Waters does this stuff and doesn't flinch. He doesn't care about offending people. He's like, you got a problem with it? Fuck off. It's funny.
Yeah. It wasn't meant to be offensive in like a derogatory way. It was meant to be like, have you not seen how offensive they are up to this point already?
Yes.
Because this is the world we're in.
Yeah. Poor Poo Poos.
Oh man. Just the cops were I don't know how to describe the cops in this. I really don't.
The gay, not gay cops? Yeah.
It's like when Was it O'Hara, played by, was it Michael Ahern?
Michael, yeah, one of the writers and directors, yeah.
He takes the first call and he's like, yeah, you'll have to give me a few minutes. I'm with my partner. No, my detective partner.
Yeah. Yeah, like, we don't know if they're gay or not. But they do really gay. If they do any gay stuff, it's just a couple of cops helping each other. Hey, I'm just helping my partner out. It's one of those deals. That's what I get out of that. There's a scene, because there's a scene later on where the other one, Barry, Detective Barry, is at the computer looking stuff up, and oh no, it's the other way. Michael's at the computer, and the guy's behind him. He's like, man, you're really tense. He's rubbing his shoulder. He goes, it'd be a lot better if he took his shirt off. Every gay man in the house is like, yes. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because they're hot. Well, I also love that it's a bunch of beefy, hairy guys who made this movie about drag. I love it. I love it. The whole dichotomy of that. But
it's so, this whole movie was so much fun. Like you said, talking about it is hard because we could be here all day breaking down every little thing.
Yeah.
And it could be a masterclass for me in learning about the drag community and drag performing and all that.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot to get into. I mean,
yeah.
Should we just cut to? I mean, I don't know what.
Let's. At this point, let's just go for why these murders are happening.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, because there's, like you said, there's so many little things that are happening, and they're not happening for no reason. But it's so hard because every little thing has a purpose. I think you have to use, and I hate to say this way, like broad strokes to get through just talking about the movie in general. But it's so hard because there's so many little things that you want to discuss.
100%. 100%. All these little moments of magic.
I mean, the person who's getting a massage and gets killed.
Oh yeah, it's another one that goes on for too long. The killer goes on for too long.
Mm-hmm. It's just like, wait, what? Okay, why are we still here? Just holding on the bucket as the person is being drained from the slit in their throat. It's just like,
you know what I want to touch on? You touched on it briefly. I want to talk about Pup.
Oh yes, Pup. Oh, Tony's.
One of the things, Tony's pup. Tony's puppy.
Yeah, Tony's puppy.
One of the things I really admire about this movie is that Tony Two Fingers has a pup. And if you don't know, pup play is a increasingly popular kind of kink play. And there's this relationship in the movie that's there the whole time, and it's never a joke.
Mm-mm.
It's never pointed out as weird. Everybody just accepts that, oh yeah, that's Tony and that's his pup.
Yeah, they look over and they'll see Pup there. And they'll be like, oh, all right. Pup might growl at somebody. And he's like, hey.
Pup got to do what Pup got to do.
You know, Tony scolds him, like, get back in the corner. And nobody's like, this is really fucking weird. They're just like, oh, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, it's just the way, it's just them. They've always been together, and this is them. They're the couple that have been together. And I love that as the movie goes on, even though like Tony is always angry and always yelling at everybody, including Pup, when Pup disappears, Tony's fucked up. Tony's really sad.
It's the time you see he's actually a person.
Yeah, he actually loves somebody, and he loves this silly little Pup. And it made everything that happened that ring and have some weight to it, which was great. Poor little Pup. Poor Pup.
Oh,
Pup didn't hurt nobody.
Nope.
Everybody who dies in this is an asshole except for Pup.
Pup is the only one where you're like, I didn't want to see Pup die. Pup didn't do anything.
No.
Pup was just in his corner.
Mm-hmm. Looking beefy. That's exactly what I applaud that.
Oh, the times when Pup would try to get close to Tony, he's like, God, you only want to fuck when I'm angry, or what's it he said?
You're always angry.
It's like, hello. You were gonna have a heart condition or a stroke, sir, because you were always at 110.
Well, I mean, it couldn't have anything to do with the boatloads of cocaine that he's been snorting the entire movie.
Oh no, not that.
Nah. Tell me calms down. Tell me relaxes.
Oh my god. The amount of cocaine that man snorted throughout this movie.
I mean, I guess that's a Providence thing. I'm like, people are still doing cocaine because nobody's doing that around here anymore.
Yeah, I have not heard about it here. Yeah.
Whatever.
California, it's meth.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is here too.
But, yeah, I did like his little Rolodex of dogs that he tends his little carousel Rolodex.
That was weird. That I only noticed that this time through. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Are those his former puppies? No, because those are actual puppies. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, he's got a little stuffed dog, like Doberman, on his desk. He's got this little carousel Rolodex.
Did you notice though that every time Lieutenant Barry tries to make a valiant point, he knocks it over. He knocks over the
every time, and then just casually sets it back in place.
Totally embarrassed, like, okay.
Like, sorry.
Poor Lieutenant Barry can't do anything right.
It happened once, and I was like, okay. So, and then it happened again. I'm like,
and then it starts happening off camera. Like you're just seeing him knocking something. Like you see him resetting something off camera. Like he knocked over the fucking dog again.
Like, what? Like, how do you keep doing this? Yeah, Tony's canine obsession is weird, but you did point something out interesting to me that was on Tony's corkboard behind him before we got on to do the podcast today.
This movie's meta, y'all. Hold on. Buckle in. There's a poster on Tony's corkboard for fundraising for Death Drop Gorgeous to make the movie Death Drop Gorgeous, the movie that we're watching right now.
Inception.
And it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake because they covered part of it up. They covered up the title, but it's enough to know what it is.
It's there for, like, I think the hardcore fans of this movie.
In this universe, someone else is making a movie called Death Drop Gorgeous. It's probably Tragedy.
I was just like, yes, I'm going to make this movie.
Actually, that tracks. With how things play out, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we get down to it? It turns out. Shall we spoil it now?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
The killer's been Gloria Hole this whole time,
and I didn't expect that.
I didn't either, and the reveal is nicely done too. And it happens a lot earlier than I expected, as well, because it's not just a whodunit. It's like, oh, okay, all right, now we know who the killer is, but it turns out, oh, this is actually not a slasher movie. This is a supernatural movie. There is something supernatural going on here.
Yes.
What's she doing? What's she doing with all this blood?
She's gathering the blood from young gay men to rejuvenate herself, to get young again and reclaim her former glory.
Yeah, she's got a whole Countess Bathory bath thing planned out for herself with a ritual and shit and everything, and it turns out it works.
It worked well. Oh my god!
So you get this rejuvenated Gloria running around, youthful vampire like monster drag queen stalking around the whole last third of the movie. I'm like, this is amazing. I don't know where we are right now, and it's a different actor.
It is, and I didn't realize. I was like, wow, and then I was like hearing the voice. I'm like, this has got to be a different person.
And
that is Johnny Cedarquist.
Yes, or Ninny Nothing.
Okay, see, I did not realize it was a drag name, so apologies for me for not understanding.
My first few times through the movie, I didn't even realize it was a different person because I didn't we don't see the drag performers out of drag, so I don't know what Gloria looks like out of drag. It could be her, with all the contouring and makeup, you could change how a face looks quite a bit. It could have been her, and it didn't matter. It doesn't matter either way. Either way, this is fabulous. That there's this rampaging thing that now I've regained my former glory, and now everybody's going to pay. Everybody who's made my life hell, who's made this town hell, who's made being gay hell, who doesn't appreciate what we've been given, you're all going down.
And it's fucking fantastic. When she walks into the club and you cut to Tragedy, she goes, "It's beautiful.
It's beautiful."
I was like, huh, why did she say it that way? Then once you get to the end, you realize why.
Yeah.
And it's like, it all comes together, but you're just like, wait a minute, why are you? She's like, just so enthralled, just like, it's beautiful.
I never made, Tragedy is connected to all this, but I didn't make the connection. I said, but if anybody in this movie would be able to look at somebody and go, oh, that's some kind of vampire monster that's rejuvenated herself. Like, yeah, that'd be Tragedy. Oh, it's one of those. And it's beautiful. Well done.
Just the confidence with which Gloria's walking back into all that and just, Well, I have to say, touching back real quick, when Gloria tried to do a more modern performance early on.
Hashtag I swallow.
Oh my god. I was watching it and I'm like, oh, no, why?
It's her Carrie moment.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, Gloria, no,
Gloria
no.
Holt just got laughed off the stage.
I legitimately felt bad for that character. I was just like,
it's a heartbreaking moment. I mean, she's got several of them. There's that one early on too. Sorry, we're jumping all over the place, but like when she follows Tragedy and playing her theremin, and she comes out and she starts doing this ballad, and just the way it's shot, you're going, we're in a different movie all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a performer who knows what she's doing, and it's magic. And after like 8 bars, she just throws the whole thing out the window and goes, fuck this. There's nobody here.
Yeah.
Fuck this. You don't deserve this. The amount of work I put into this. It's a heartbreaking moment. And if you're a performer of any kind, all of a sudden you realize there's nobody in the house. Yeah.
When I saw her just go,
and there's nobody here,
and walk off, I was like, this is her going, yeah, you don't deserve to see this. Fuck all of you.
That song is fabulous too. And one of the things I love this, there's a whole final scene in Tony's basement where she's getting her killer monologue about why she's doing it, and just really ripping everybody to shreds, literally and figuratively.
Mm-hmm.
The whole final battle, Gloria's song is on the record player, but it's skipping. It's that song that's played, but it's just, I remember. Like, this is so good for a character who's stuck in the past. I remember. I'm just trying to bring back 1983 again, and it's not coming. And I love it. It's just a wonderful choice.
I love that it happened. She's starting to do her performance there at the end, and the record starts going, does nothing fucking work in this place? And then, like you say, you just hear that the entire time. That I remember. I was like, that's a brilliant little touch there.
And it should get annoying, but it doesn't. It's very upsetting. It's like it gets on your nerves in the right way. It's raising the tension for the scene. You just want it to stop. Kind of like when Tony's pulling out his own intestines. You're like, stop it!
Oh, God.
Or she's pulling out. She's like, look, there's more. Ah!
Kept it going. It's like, oh, this have to stop. Nope, you're just gonna keep going. Okay, we're stop. Nope, there we go. There's more.
It's a scientific fact. If you pulled out your large and small intestines and you laid them end to end, they stretch all the way to the moon. It's true. There's 93 million miles of intestines in everybody's stomach.
That is a scientific fact.
Scientific fact. You heard it here first, kids.
It was so good. That whole speech she gave, just my tuck is everlasting.
And
I know that was the title you used for your show, because I was looking back to see exactly what I was doing research for this. I was looking back and I saw that. I went, that's why that is there. That's why you chose that. Just yeah, that end scene.
She's immortal now.
She's immortal, and just, man, she lays into Tony and everybody else, like you said in that speech. It's just,
yeah. Yep. Yeah. Remember I don't remember what she was saying, but I wish I had the quotes in front of me, and I wish I should know them better by now. But she's like, remember when we were young and we had all these dreams, and look what you've done. Look what you've made. Why is everybody in charge in this town a piece of shit?
Yeah. And that was something that was throughout the film, is everybody who was in charge was just so shitty.
Yeah, the other line of hers that I love comes earlier with her and Janet. When Janet made some comment about that she was old, and she does that thing where she laughs, slams that case down, and like just laughs, and like takes 3 hours to light a cigarette to draw out the tension. And she just goes, "Honey, do you think you're gonna be young forever? Every perfectly bleached asshole has an expiration date." And I love that because like I said, I'm an aging queen myself, and my bleached asshole is ready to expire at any time. Who knows? It's a ticking time bomb back there. But I love that through this whole final battle, I'm like, I get you. I get this rage. I get this, how you get older and you become invisible in the gay community. I get this. I'm kind of on your side, which makes me a monster too.
But I don't think you can help but be sort of on her side, because you're like, you were just cast aside. Like, you were disposable when you were the foundation for everything that these people are enjoying now. So instead of respecting you and kind of holding you up in this regard like they should, they're just like, well, you're old news. Yeah. These new younger people are where it's at. You know, get over yourself. It's like, well, they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Gloria.
Exactly.
So you're kind of on her side, despite the fact that she is this monster killing people. You're like, I kind of get where you're like, show me the respect I deserve for building this community that you love so much. Yeah. And are having fun with every night, coming to the club and seeing these young new performers who wouldn't be here if I didn't do it first.
Right. Exactly. And it's not just about the performing, it's about breaking down the barriers to let this happen. Mm-hmm. Like when I was doing this, I might've gotten arrested, but I did it anyway. Yeah. Show me some goddamn respect. But anyway, there's a trend in some of the horror movies that I've been seeing lately, some of the newer horror movies that I'm really enjoying, that where, and I'm thinking of things like Sissy, and there was another movie that I covered last year that was similar, where everybody deserved what they got, but nobody deserved what they got. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those movies, like everybody's a monster, but you didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of dichotomy where you're just like, everybody really is just kind of trying their best to fit in this world, playing by the rules of this world, and it just turns out the rules of this world make you a monster.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I'd like to tie it into the to X and Pearl, if I may.
Yeah, I haven't seen them, but it's fine because I'll get to them eventually. So, but feel free, go right ahead.
One of the things that really upset me when I was hearing people talk, like even when I saw X, before Pearl was even out, there was a lot of giggling every time the old woman would try to get some kind of physical attention from one of the younger cast members. Like she crawls into bed naked with Mia Goth and tries to seduce one of the men. And everyone's like, horny old lady. I'm like, that's not what this is about. It's not about the sex. This is an incredibly lonely woman who hasn't been touched in ages. And when Pearl came out, I realized it's not even just that. She also, when she was young, all she wanted to do was be in the movies and be a star and get away. But no, she got tucked away from everybody by her husband and this farm where she was alone. She's always alone, always cut off, desperate for touch, desperate for connection that she never gets. And now these fucking kids come in, flaunting their bodies, gorgeous, having sex with everybody that they want to, getting as much touch as they need, going to be stars in the movies like she was going to be. And all she wants is just be a little touch of that, a little piece of that. Just notice me.
Right.
And they don't. So they have to die. And I said, I get that. And that is very, very real because I'm over 50 now. I'm starting to feel that. Like all of a sudden you start to like, okay, I get to someday no one's going to want you anymore.
Right.
And I listen to the young gays and I hear them giggle and titter. I'm like, oh, TikTok kids, TikTok. Your asshole is wrinkling more than you know.
Yeah, that bleached asshole definitely has an expiration date.
Yeah. And I mean, people might say that's trite, but I'm just saying it's an interesting thing to see in movies these days that it's a very adult thing. It's something that's not geared toward 20-something people. You don't get that. You don't get this fear yet. Mm-hmm. Playing on that fear that someday no one's going to want to touch you anymore.
Exactly. It's not marketed to a younger audience. There's a very specific audience that message is geared towards.
What I also love about the message is like, oh, you'll get it one day. Mm-hmm. You're going to get it. TikTok.
It's just wait.
TikTok.
You'll see exactly how this message is prevalent for you in time.
Anyway, it's a cool movie. Oh, and then it turns out, she's a vampire, a form of vampire, and it's tragedy that turned her. It's tragedy's at the root of everything, as she should be.
I love that because I was like, okay, it's the credits. I'm like, I want to see if there's anything. And then I saw it pop up and I went, wait a minute, what is this?
Two extra.
And I was like, I went, okay, now I see where it all started. She gives Gloria some of her blood. Gloria's, are you off your tit?
And I just love that they're driving out of town, Thelma and Louise style, this convertible after everybody's dead. And they're kind of realizing, okay, so it's going to be us forever, huh? I would watch a road trip movie with those two. It doesn't have to be horror. Take me anywhere with these two. I want to go where you go. Because this movie's going to be nuts.
I am on board for that because I was like, I want more of these two. I was away. I was like, I need more tragedy in my life. Take that as you will. But watching those two, yeah, like you, it's like, give me a road movie with these two, just to see what happens.
Or anything. Like, they're just two gals that living in an apartment, just trying to get by the way the vampires. They're the high school teachers.
Give me something that is Pee-wee's Big Adventure-esque with those two, and I'm fine.
100%. 100%.
The more tragedy, the better.
On frequent viewings, you'll realize that the whole thing with tragedy, even, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It's hinted at throughout. Just like I'm saying that she's doing supernatural things like eating a pomegranate in a white outfit without getting any juice on her. But people have lines like, there's always beauty in tragedy. This is all going to end in tragedy.
Yeah. There's
several lines where tragedy comes up and you're going, yeah, that could be interpreted as, tragedy's been behind this. Oh, you're not saying tragedy with a Y. Your mouth is saying tragedy with a Y, but the movie's saying tragedy with an I. Exactly. Tragedy's been behind this the whole time. This is all going to end with tragedy.
And it did.
In the car, going to California, going to Disneyland.
Yeah, how do I want to say this? Well, first off, I'm just going to say this whole movie was just a fun ride for me. It was fantastic. I loved every second that I was watching it. Even if it seemed ridiculous, I was like, you know what? They know exactly what they're doing here. The scene where we find out Gloria Hole is the killer when she's confronted with Brian. He comes. We haven't gotten into Brian, or actually our final girl at all, which is amazing. But that's just the way this movie is. The drag stuff is going to overshadow the people who are not in drag 100% anytime in any given situation. But Brian's a monster. Brian is Brian. What I love about Brian is that he is the friend you want. He is an attentive friend, but he's also really self-involved at the same time. Like, he'll be giving you all this. In a regular horror movie, you'll have that friend to the final girl who's like, oh gosh, tell me all your problems. I'll help you with your problems. Everything's going to be okay. I'm here to cheer you up. That's my sole job. Brian says all those lines, and then he's just like checking his phone, like not really paying attention. He's like, but he's saying all the right things, but not doing the actions. And I said, that's 100% real life. Yeah, I love that scene where he's like, tell me what's going on. And then immediately goes to the phone. Yeah, immediately. I've had a lot of wine. I was like, that line alone, I've had a lot of wine. I'm like, that is such a real line. I'm sure that was improv too. It felt like an improv. I said that to Leanne. She was kind of casually watching with me. I was like, I feel like that line could have just been improv. They were like, we're leaving it in. Yeah, because he kind of knocked a glass over. Just feel like I'm going to cover that with this line. It's the best line ever. But no, Brian's an actor, or he wants to be an actor, or just thinks he's an actor, and he decided, like, I'm going to be in this movie, and I've decided my character is going to be an aging drag queen, so I'm going to ask Gloria Hole for advice on how to be old. Number 2. And just shows up and demands, and while she's out of the room, she's got to go cut up some fruit for bingo. She actually no, but the line is like, oh, excuse me, I got to go cut up some fruit before bingo, which is going to work on 2 levels. And next thing, she's got to be cutting up fruit in the kitchen. Then she's got to cut up some fruit in the living room. I mean, Brian. But while she's gone, he goes in her closet and is trying on her outfit and her wigs. No. Even I knew, I'm like, you have crossed a line. No. You did not have permission. No. I mean, don't do that. I mean, there is a line that somebody said to me when I was very young, like you do not touch a woman's purse unless she asks you to touch her purse, because touching a woman's purse is like touching her vagina. That is like you do not touch a drag queen's wig ever. So when he got killed, I'm like, you deserve that. You 100% deserve. She could have not been the killer and just killed him for that. It could have been a completely separate thing. But I'm on board, Gloria. I'm with you. Yeah. That's kind of what I thought at first, was like, oh, she just killed him because she was tired of this. There's going to be another thing going on, and then because there's an hour left in the movie at that point. We just found out who the killer is already. But yeah, when he walks out through that same door, the bulkhead that our second kill went down, I was like, oh. When I saw that, I went, okay, it is Gloria, because I thought, oh, she was just fed up with this guy's antics and trying on her shit.
No.
She just had enough and was like, you know what? I'm just going to kill you. I'm tired of this shit. Okay.
Yeah. Since you showed up at my house anyway, I might as well get something out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And by the way, you're horrible. You're a horrible person. You're horrible. Horrible. All horrible. But that line keeps coming up too. Like throughout the movie, Dwayne's just like, everybody, they're all monsters. Every single one of them are monsters. And Gloria says that at the end when she's fighting their final ghost, she's like, have you checked yourself, Dwayne? I think you're a monster just like the rest of us, which he is in his own right. So I love this judgment-free thing, or it's this widespread judgment that's also not judgment, because everybody's doing their best, but it turns out that's not good enough.
Yeah.
As a community, do better.
Yeah, the only one who you can clearly say, as we referenced before, who has really nothing is Pup.
Yeah. Puppet, well, I was going to say Tragedy isn't, but Tragedy is what Tragedy is. Tragedy has made no bones about who she is this whole movie. So she's not learning about anything, just nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, she's dusting disco balls and eating pomegranates in the most clean manner ever. And everybody's just like, oh, that's just Tragedy.
Uh-huh.
That's how Tragedy is. Like,
it's best. Well, you know what? You can't. You just ignore it until it's right in your face. About to eat you. This is a sidebar. You can cut this out if you want. This is on the DVD or the Blu-ray bonus things. It's one of my favorite things because it just cracked me up. Because they're doing a local shoot. They're dealing with local actors, probably most of whom are not actors. Like they're doing like extra in club scenes. Party scenes and club scenes are always difficult because you need tons and tons of people. They go on forever and they're very hard to shoot. And if you're dealing with non-actor extras, they can be excruciating. There's the scene. They're showing the scene behind the scenes of when they're shooting the finals when Janet's doing her last dance. Oh no, or no, sorry. Yeah, Janet's doing her last dance. Actually, I'm not sure when it is. It's somewhere in that scene. It's either when Janet's doing her last dance or when the new Gloria is performing for the first time. There's that bachelorette party there.
Yes.
All those women. And by the way, gay people hate bachelorette parties coming to our bars. We hate that. We hate that. Go somewhere else. But they're just supposed to be reacting to whatever's going on stage. The camera's on them. And Chris Dalby, I love him. He's yelling at them. He's like, oh, yes, it's wonderful. Oh, God, you're so turned on. This is the best show ever. You can't get enough. It's a magical spell. It's a magical spell. Yes, touch your body. Ride. Oh, no, there's blood. There's blood everywhere. There's blood splashing all over you. Be afraid. There's one woman who's dead center, who's ignoring everything he said and just keeps rubbing herself. And he's like, no, you're scared now. You can stop touching yourself. Really frightening. You're getting blood on. There's an intestine in your face. Please stop rubbing. And she's just gone.
Oh my God.
But he's doing it in that Brian voice, which is just like, I'm going to come in here and slap you.
Oh my God. That sounds amazing.
Am I speaking English?
Oh, yeah. I remember that scene. That was when they got the blood. The bachelorette party was there. That was during Janet's last dance, because then the stab happens and they get splattered with blood.
Where you get the titular death drop, which is a real death drop this time.
Yeah, it is for sure a real death drop. Those women that got splattered with blood, it seemed like they're going, oh, it's all part of the show. I'm like, don't seem terrified that somebody just had a knife come through their torso.
Bachelorette parties are usually not aware of their surroundings because they come to gay bars and don't realize that everybody there hates them. So, I mean, it totally tracks. It totally tracks. They wouldn't notice. Like, oh, it's part of the set. I see Dracula. They do that all the time.
They're not picking up on the massive amounts of side eye coming their way.
They never do. They
needed baby side eye to come in.
Oh, fucking baby side eye would have cleared that room like that. I told him that should be their second movie, Baby Side Eye. Get that kid a contract.
I would watch Baby Side Eye.
And I just would like to point out, at no point in any of the drag performances were the children being groomed.
No. Funny how that works, because that's not a thing.
100%. And also, this is a great movie to notice how many layers, if you're not familiar with drag culture, how many layers drag queens are wearing. If you think people are stripping, you're out of your mind.
This is the farthest thing from stripping.
I mean, because they've got full body tights on. They've usually got breastplates on. They've got butt padding. They've got hip padding. They usually got petticoats, petty pants. Like there's so many layers to their outfits. Stripping is not an option. So I don't know what you think you're seeing. I don't know what videos are floating. I'm sorry, I'm venting.
No, that's fine because
I'm about right now.
I'm with you on that whole thing. It's like
I know
really?
you are.
Really? Like, come on. Like they would be more protected in a crowd of drag queens than going to church. Sorry, that's
100%. 100%.
If you don't think a drag queen would kick off her heels and beat the shit out of somebody who's trying to assault a child, you're seriously delusional.
Who took down that shooter at the gay club last year?
Exactly.
Yeah. That guy who left with heel marks all over his face. And I don't mean to laugh at it, but it's like, damn right.
Yeah.
Damn right. Yeah, but like, I'm sorry, I'm venting. It's, the thing I keep seeing is like, oh, they're just seeing them stripping and twerking in front of children. I'm like, twerking's a dance. Twerk anywhere. Every cheerleader act I've seen lately twerks. The problem with twerking. And they're not stripping. And if you've seen drag queen, sometimes they might take something off, might take off a layer, like pull off a skirt with another fabulous outfit underneath. But yeah, is that stripping? Or they might actually take off their top and have fake breasts pop out, but they're not theirs.
Yeah. I mean,
they're plastic. There's plastic as the penis in this movie.
I don't get it's demonizing somebody that doesn't need to be demonized because you don't understand it, so it has to be bad.
Oh
no!
You're gonna pick on a community that's famous for fighting back.
Like you're picking the wrong fucking fight.
We already started one riot. You want to go for another one? Let's go.
It's like, I'm sorry. When it comes down to it, I'm standing on that side. I'm with them. I'm standing behind them. Like I'm with these ones. I'm not, your hate, you're all that. I want to be with the crowd that enjoyed Death Drop Gorgeous. I want to be with that community.
Thank you.
Because it is much more loving and caring and respectful of people than the hatred, vitriolic bullshit we get from the other side.
Yeah.
I say we, but I don't mean, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Okay. Have we done the movie, Jeff?
We have. I fucking love this movie. I walked away loving this movie.
It's a joy. It's one of those ones that gets better with rewatches because there's so much to it.
I'm excited to rewatch.
You miss a lot, and then when you see how well everything connects, you're like, oh, everything really does go together. Oh, yeah. Okay. One of my favorite sidebars is when the guy in the news clip where they're talking about the murders, and they got some guy in the street. He's like, "We didn't just get marriage equality, just that we could all get murdered." I love him.
Oh my god, I forgot about that because there are so many. When he said it, I was like, I laughed, but then I was like, oh, actually, he's making a point here.
It's the way he said it.
Wait. I'm so glad I watched this movie.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
It has been on my list to watch for a while, and I'm glad I finally got to do it for the show. I'm glad you were here to do it with me because I learned some things today, and I'm hoping other people learn some stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, I realize we didn't do much to sell it, I don't think, but I mean, if you buckle in and you're open to it, it's a great ride.
It is.
And the complaints that I've heard about it, I mean, the people that complain about it, they're like, oh, it's too gay, duh. Or that the acting's bad, but we've told you that already. It's a first-time film. It's got problems. But you know what? So does every 80s movie.
Exactly. All the movies everyone has nostalgia for, you really look back, there's a lot of bad stuff in those movies. We forgive it because we're looking at it through nostalgia.
I mean, everybody in the original Evil Dead is terrible for the most part when it comes to acting. They're not good.
Yeah. No. Not at all. It's again, that's a first-time film. But we forgive it. So this one, it's like, don't look at it as, oh, the acting's bad. Go in it for what the thing is, the story, the fun aspect of this movie. They're doing the best they could with the budget they had, and goddamn, they did a fantastic fucking job.
And apparently their follow-up film, Saint Drogo, is doing really well at film festivals. It's a huge swing in a different direction. It's more serious, more dark, And I was saying, I've said to myself a long time, like, I really hope you guys don't have like sophomore slump. Like you shot your wad the first time. I really hope this goes well for you. But from what I understand, it's doing really well. I haven't seen it yet because they haven't given me a screener copy. It's okay. I made you fuckers. Okay. I was the first person to start talking about your fucking movie and you're not going to give me a copy. That's fine. I understand. Cunts. I will always be the first lady of gay podcasting. Thank you very much. How dare you?
I'm applauding you. Yeah, you were the first one I ever heard talk about this, and I'm sure other podcasts have. I don't.
Oh yeah,
I don't know, but
yeah.
I mean, let me give you my only experience with any movies that involved drag. There's 3 that I had seen. And you can tell me if I'm incorrect in doing this, but first one is Rocky Horror.
Sure. Perfect.
Then To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Those are the 3 that I had seen. And I enjoyed those movies for what they were. I mean, could they tend to be problematic if you look back at it with a critical eye?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I have no problem. I mean, Rocky Horror is what it is. I have no problem.
Right.
I could never have a problem with that. I mean, it was a launching pad for so many people to explore themselves in any kind of different direction. I cannot fault it. Like you can look at it through a modern eye, nitpick, but you have to look at what it's done.
Exactly.
So you can't fault it for that. And those other ones, like, you know, when you get drag movies with all straight people in it, I could have problems with it. And also, like, they're all magical. Like, all the queer people are magical here to solve the straight people's problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 90s. It was getting us out there. It was baby steps.
Yeah.
It wouldn't, well, I was going to say it wouldn't get made today with actual drag queens, but that's still the problem with Hollywood. That still put Leonardo DiCaprio in it or some shit.
Yeah. Instead of looking to the community and being like, who could be gay? They'd be like, oh, let's get Leo and Jonah Hill.
Yes.
Oh, we need comic relief. Would Seth Rogen do it? Maybe Paul Rudd. Like, no, you can. There's a real community you could get from. But yeah, that was my exposure. So seeing this, it really kind of opened my eyes up. Like, but I knew with the others that it wasn't a real portrayal because, like you said, the magical sense of, like, and To Wong Fu, they're like, we're gonna fix all your problems because we're the magical drag queens. I'm like,
everyone's in full makeup 24 hours a day. No, honey, no.
Like they have downtime too.
No, we seem to have this endless budget for costumes and things instead of like seeing people like making shit out of stuff they found in a dumpster, like dead drug dealers. I made this out of a drug dealer. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. All right, Jeffrey, I gotta go. I gotta get some lunch because we're gonna fall over. This has been fabulous.
Yeah. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. You know, you're always welcome to come back anytime. If I have anything else that interests you.
I had something else. I'm signed up for something else and I don't remember what it is. So that'll be great. I'll let you know.
The Devil's Backbone.
Yeah, the guy with Numerlexia wants to do a movie about math, so that might not go so well. We'll see.
Hey, you never know. We'll see what happens, you know?
Yeah,
like I said,
if you enjoyed me, you can find me over at www.ScreamQueenz.com, and that's Queens with a Z. You don't got to be gay, but it helps.
It helps, but you know what? I'm not, and I fucking love Scream Queens.
Yeah.
So
if you want to see your favorite movies turn on their head and see them in a completely different way, and then you'll never see them the same way again, come watch my show. I ruin things.
Highly recommend it. Links to Patrick's stuff will be in the show notes. Thank you again, Patrick. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Pay child support, you son of a bitch.
It's coming. And until you receive that check, just enjoy this universe that's a bit skewered.
Connect with Skewered Universe on social media. Join us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Skewered Universe or become a part of the group at facebook.com/groups/Skewered Universe Podcast. Instagram at Skewered_Universe_podcast. Threads at Skewered Universe Podcast. Email us at skewereduniversepodcast@gmail.com. Visit www.skeweredhead.com.